Oh, yes. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Nicktendo Direct Now. It's going to be a good one today. It's going to be a great one today. I can feel it. Everybody in the chat, Angel, Des, Super, Andrew, Courtney, I see y'all. We got 10 people watching. Make sure everybody hit that like button. Me Master was the first in here. Appreciate all of y'all. So how's everybody's day doing today? I hope everybody's doing great. I'm doing okay. Mike Bates, what's going on? I didn't expect for this episode, because what I expect this episode to be, I was gonna have JT on, which JT is here. Say hi to everybody. What's going on, man?
What's up?
So JT is here. You can't see him yet. You'll see him a little bit later. But so I didn't expect Sony to drop the bombshell that they dropped today. I expected the news to be very little. I expected there to be some stuff out there. We go over it and then have the interview, but apparently Sony had different plans. So we're still gonna do the interview, but we're just gonna have to make this quick. So let's go ahead and get into the quick hitters. All right. So let's just get, there's two really sort of big news, and let's just get to this first one. So according to Reggie from Nintendo, the N64 Classic Mini is quote unquote not in our planning horizon, but they wouldn't ever rule it out. I just find this funny because last week, what was it, Tuesday, JT? It was like Target had an ad for the Nintendo 64 Classic just sitting there. And everybody kind of took that as a sign that, hey, we're going to get an N64 Classic. Why would Target put this out? And then it quickly came down not too longer later. And then now all of a sudden we have Reggie here saying it's not in our planning horizon. I don't know if I believe him. JT, do you believe him? I don't know if I
believe him 100%. I think this is what I've said since the first time someone mentioned N64 Classic was everyone was like, oh, it follows the path, the trajectory of NES, SNES, and now this year, each year they're coming out with a new each one, and it's gonna perfectly compete with the PlayStation Classic. Everything lined up for it, but I was always taking the standpoint of they're probably gonna wait one more year and have it come out next year, because first off, the technology, as much as people think it is, it's not there for emulating N64 games. They're some of the hardest things to emulate. If anyone's ever tried to emulate N64 on their PCs and stuff, it's really challenging. Like, I have my PC's like a very high-end $2,400 PC with high-end graphics card, tons of RAM, tons of extra storage and space. And when I run N64 games on it, there's a lot of issues, hiccups, screen tearing. Sometimes they don't even function. Like, there's so many issues with N64 emulation that I think even Nintendo is taking a step back from this and saying, let's work on getting the technology up to where it needs to be before we rush this thing out. Because Nintendo's all about quality. I think they probably considered it this year, but just didn't have the resources available to put out a quality product.
That's crazy. So what do you think that the Target ad came from then? Well,
I think I was the one that found that.
Yeah, it was you. Yeah, you posted it, and then I remember after you posted it, soon Spawnwave was talking about it.
Spawnwave shared it. I was like, damn, cool.
And so like, it's just crazy that happened, and then all of a sudden, boom, it came down. And so, I mean, what do you think it came from Target side? Like,
to me, that's straight up metadata. That's all that is. They're just trying to throw a net out there and catch as many people in the Google algorithm as possible. That's all it could have been. And I, at first, when I found it, I was thinking, wow, like, I'm surprised, because that's why I haven't made any videos on the N64 Classic coming out, is because I'm like, I don't think it is, so I don't want to make a video talking about it then look like an idiot.
Yeah, fair enough.
So
fair enough.
So when I found that Target thing, I was like, I almost made a video on that, but I'm like, you know what, still not enough for me to make a video on this, because that could be metadata. That could be them just looking for clicks from grandmas and mas that are buying gifts for their kids at Christmas time and don't know what the name of the system is. So they're just typing what they thought their kid had in and then writing classic and then having that show up, because when you clicked on it, it redirected you to the SNES and NES classics.
Gotcha.
So I think it was just a catch-all net, and
a
lot of people it was a lot of people misconstrued it for an evidence of a leak, but I never took it as that. I just thought it was very interesting that it was showing up, but clearly it's Reggie wouldn't lie. If anything, Reggie would say we don't have anything to announce at this time if they were coming out with it. He wouldn't say that's something that we're considering in the future, but nothing's being worked on right now. He wouldn't say that. That's basically telling everyone it's not coming out this year. So don't even bother getting your hopes up.
Well, there you go, people. Our hopes and dreams have been ruined. I was excited, man, because I was really hoping that it would have been PlayStation Classic versus N64 Classic, and I really wish it could have just been that for this Christmas, and it would have been fun. But I guess.
I mean, let's be real. If that were the case, N64 would have just destroyed the PlayStation
100%.
Classic, because Nintendo already has a proven track record for making these things the right way and doing them right and putting a good price point and high quality and good games and first party titles, and then you're comparing that with, are you kidding me? The PlayStation Classic? Like what? Come on.
Right.
Get out of here with that.
Right.
Get out of here with
Speaking
that.
of Sony, let's just go ahead and get into the big news of the day, because right when I was preparing for this and everything, Sony just dropped a bombshell stating, hey, they're not showing up to E3 in 2019. It's not, they're not showing up. There's no, what do you say? They're not showing up. They're not doing a show. There's no booth. There's no nothing. And all of a sudden it's just, they're not going to be there. And it seems to be a big deal. My opinion was, though, because when I first said it, I was like, well, if Nintendo doesn't have a major event at E3, I don't think it's that big of a deal. But then you went ahead and told me it's a step further. It's like they're not going to be there at all, like no presence whatsoever. That is pretty crazy if it's that. Like, I thought it was just going to be like how Nintendo does. They have certain things at E3. You can still, like, they had people can play Smash at E3. They were still there, but they had their Direct, and that was their big thing. But that's not going to be the case. Sony's just not there at all.
Well, I don't want to jump into assumptions or anything. But am I on the screen for people or no? Is this just okay? Cool. I didn't know. As far as what I know, because this news just broke as I was making another video for tomorrow. This news broke, and I'm like, oh god, I don't have time to research it before we go live. But I was saying, if Sony is not presenting, which is what they said, and everyone's making such a big deal out of it, I'm assuming that also means that they're not going to be there with much of a presence, if anything at all. And that is interesting to me for a couple of reasons. One, I'm wondering if they're doing it to spite the entire situation, just like they're scoffing at E3, or if they're doing it because, I mean, let's be real. I covered E3 last year, and Sony had probably the worst conference out of the big three. Easily the worst
conference. Really, it was just
right. It was
like art showy, and here's this.
It was weird.
It was very weird and
everyone go into this tent. Okay, now everyone leave this tent and go to this
church, and then
like 10 to 20 to 30 minutes of downtime in between where they weren't even prepared to talk about anything. It was a clusterfuck from the beginning, and
right.
And they, I think, looked at that upper management of Sony is probably like, we're doing really well right now, and literally we just were the laughing stock of E3. We don't want to spend, God only knows how much money they spent,
right,
and have that happen again. So they're probably taking a step back and analyzing, like, we don't really have anything major to talk about, major to show. We don't have any big hitters. So all they're going to do is berate us and bemoan how bad we are and make us look bad. So you know what we can do? We can just back out of it and do our own thing if we want to. If we have something to announce, we'll do that. But I mean, if you're going to go into E3 and at this day and age, with all the expectations the gamers have, and you're going to present nothing to excite people, then you need to get the F out of there stat, because that's you got yourself a Blizzard situation in the making right there.
Yeah. They're also, not to mention, they didn't have their PSX this year either. They didn't have the PlayStation experience, and apparently people are saying that this kind of shows signs that we might be closer to the PlayStation 5 than we thought, and they may be taking time because they really don't have much to announce, and then they're going to announce the PS5 in 2020. And they think that that's more so down the road. I don't know if that's would be entirely factually true. I don't know. Like, we hear rumblings that it's going to be 2020, but we don't know that for sure. I'm on the side that you are. Like, I just think that right now there's not much down the pipe, and why would they want to just show up and spend money when they don't have to? You know, they're about their money too. Why would they want to go to E3 and waste money and pay the money to rent out the conference center and pay the money to do this and that and stuff like that when you don't have much of anything? I mean, what are they going to show us? Ghost of Tsushima again, Death Stranding again, like games we've already seen. So
and you're putting that up against Microsoft and the studios that they're coming out with new games.
Yeah,
they're
going to be announcing their games, and Nintendo's
and
going to be showing their
Nintendo coming out with Metroid Prime 4 and probably a Metroid trilogy, probably Pikmin 4, probably whatever Retro Studios has finally been working on. Like, there's so many things Nintendo's going to hit with. It's going to be a huge E3 for them.
Right.
So Sony's probably like, yeah, no, let's not. And here's the other thing, like, PlayStation 5, from what I understand, turned 5 today. Like, this was the release date 5 years ago today. So it's not as new as what people think. And 5 years in technology is a long ass time this day and age. Like, 5 years is centuries back in the day.
Well,
so,
especially nowadays, like, you know, with everything changing and everything becoming new and new graphic cards coming out every year. And I mean, it seems like when these consoles come out, they are old, not even a year after the release. You know what I mean? Like, just the technology is behind. And so what's going on, Salty? I see it's all good. And so, like, yeah, it makes sense that they would possibly come out. But I just think that, you know, once again, they just don't have anything to show. Why spend the money? Why go? But, you know, I guess they can do what they want. I guess they're leading the generation. You know, everybody's quotes that they say. They're leading the generation. They can do whatever they want. But in the end, I guess they can.
I think it's more they don't have anything to show. And this points to exactly what's going to happen. Like, if you can read into the future, them not going to E3 this year is almost, to me, that's translation for, we're working on the PlayStation 5 right now. We don't have anything to talk about. It's not going to be ready to talk about then. So we will be announcing it at E3 2019 for a 2020 release.
Right. There you go. But either way, Sony, you know, shook the world with that announcement. And so everybody's kind of just freaking out. So there we go. That's it for the quick hitters, everybody. So make sure you hit that like button before, you know, we get into the next segment. We're going to be doing this thing called Why YouTube, where I interview YouTubers from the community, and we just talk about YouTube and why we do it, what we like, what we don't like, the process, all that good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and click this intro for the big show, and then we'll get into it. Oh, yes, there he is. There he is, everybody. Smash JT in the flesh. See, it wasn't just like a crazy bot in the back. It was actually him. You can see him right there, everybody. Like I said, the first Why YouTube was with my buddy Salty's Gaming. We talked a little bit, and so I tried to get Smash the week after, and we were gonna do it. Then my car broke down, and then we couldn't do it. Then we were gonna do it last week. Then more stuff came up, so then we couldn't do it. But finally, we are here this week with it. And so I appreciate you for doing this, man. I really do.
Yeah, for real, sure.
Really do. Smash JT. Honestly, like, if we start from the beginning, how did I even find you? Oh yeah, you were doing the somebody retweeted on Twitter. You were doing the
channel help.
The game, no, it wasn't the channel help. The first time I saw you, you were doing the you were doing that guess the video game theme song, and it was me and Retro Robbie. We were neck and neck, and then my wife pulled me away because we had to get food, and I was gonna win.
That's right.
This Steam box, and I was so upset because she pulled me away from that, and I remember that. But then I subbed, and then you had the channel help, and you showcased my channel and gave some good solid advice of what to do and how to change things because my intros were too long or I was talking too much and stuff. And so ever since then, like, I've come to you for help, and we've been in contact, and so it's been great. So I really wanted to get you on here for that purpose. Like I said, Super Andrew says channel help. That's how he discovered me, Super Andrew 64, and vice versa. Super Andrew is now regular on the on the Nicktendo Direct podcast. So there's a lot of relationships formed from those channel help videos, and so really wanted to get you on here, man. So let's just ask the question: why YouTube? Why are you a YouTube creator? Why do you do YouTube? All that good stuff. I know it's kind of an open question, but go ahead.
You know what's funny is the video I was working on today somewhat touches on that, and I haven't touched on that for what feels like ages. So it's kind of funny to film a video this morning and then get these questions from you today. It's like, whoa, I've like prepared because I just did a whole video on this. So why YouTube? I did it January 1st of 2017. So getting close to my 2-year anniversary right now. And I did it because I've wanted to do it for a very long time. And I used to work in the video game industry, and I needed some sort of outlet to express my feelings for video games, why I like them so much, why I like talking about them. And, I had 2 kids, I got married, and I had a job, and I'm like, I don't even play video games anymore. And I wasn't happy because I wasn't talking about them, and I wasn't really finding time to play them. And I felt like YouTube was a really good excuse and outlet to be able to force myself to get back into playing games, which I love, bring that major passion in my life back. And also, 2 birds, 1 stone, I've always wanted to have a YouTube channel. I just was scared to do it. I was scared to take the leap and actually talk to a camera. I've never had any professional training on how to talk to a camera, how to edit material, how to even format a discussion or a story or talk about things or anything. My only experience was testing video games and recruiting people in the video game industry. So this was a challenge that was an exciting endeavor for me because it forced me to step out of my comfort zone and create something new.
Right. Now, something you said that I hear from a lot of people in this community, which is I always wanted to, I was just afraid to. Like that has been a sentiment from myself, from people that I know in the community. My buddy Salty's Gaming, who talked about it. Super Andrew, we've all talked about like we wanted to do this, but there's always been this reluctancy to do it. And then finally you do it. And then look what happens. You meet all these awesome people. You meet all these, you make all these friendships. And so, yeah, we've all been there. And I mean, I'm glad that you did it. I'm glad I did it because, you meet all these people and it's rewarding in that way. I know there's some. Go ahead.
If I have one regret, it's that I didn't do it sooner.
Exactly. Same for me. That's my regret too. Is like, why didn't I do this sooner? I love doing this. This is fun. I love creating content. I love streaming games. I love making content. I love doing podcasts. Like there's some of the most favorite things that I can do. And yeah, there are people that do YouTube, to make money. Like people are in it to make money or whatever. I get it. But if anything, if you're not making money, you're forming relationships and you're forming friendships that matter. You know what I mean? And it's great. I absolutely love it. So this next question I want to ask, and it's kind of 2 and 2, but let's just ask it this way. What inspires you to make a video? Like what topics do you look for? What do you see? What interests you in order for you to start the process of making a video?
I don't have it boiled down to an exact science. It's more of looking through the news and seeing what's going on and kind of, it's not always, it's not exact science. It's not always looking through the news and finding something to talk about. Sometimes there's an experience that I have while I'm playing a game and I'm like, holy crap, this is a really good talking point. How do people feel about this? Like Red Dead Redemption 2, when people are talking about like the horse balls growing and shrinking in the weather. And as crazy and ludicrous and stupid as that whole thing is, it brings up a really interesting talking point of how realistic do your games need to be for you to enjoy them. And is that something that you want games to keep progressing into a level of realism? Or do you just enjoy playing games because they're fun to play? And And where are we if that's the case? Why are we going to these extremes with games? Why are we going through these extremes with graphics? If at the end of the day, we want to play a game and enjoy the experience and have fun with it, why do we need all these other things? And if we do need all those other things, why can't you just enjoy a game? So it's like a weird dichotomy of conflictions that I have, and it sparks me to want to talk about it, to find out if I'm crazy or if people are with me on it, which is, people say I make a lot of videos that are divisive, or I'll talk about things that I just don't give a crap. I'm just going to talk about it. But it's not, that's not my intention going into it. Honestly, my intention is kind of just like a self-check, like, hey, am I going crazy here? Or what I feel, is this how everyone else feels? Because I want to make sure that I'm not going crazy right now.
Right. Like, I get that 100%, because that's what I try to do. Like, especially with the podcast, like, we'll talk about the news, but there's always a time where I try to create a discussion, rather than just talk about the news and discuss news, but like discuss, am I crazy here? Are we, is this like, we do like when we like a few weeks ago, we talked about Xbox, the Project X Cloud and cloud gaming. And I'm like, is this crazy? Like, is this where this is going? Like, and creating a discussion, not so much of talking about just that, but like, how is this going to go? Where's the future of gaming going? Is this going to be the future? Is it not? Is this a trend? Is it going to fall over? And then we talked about EA Project Atlas and stuff. And so I feel you on that one. I'm in the same way as far as wanting to create a discussion and a dialogue and just find out what everybody's thinking and find out how everybody's feeling about it. Because like you said, sometimes it could just be you. Sometimes it could just be the temperature of the whole community as a whole. You just don't know until you ask. And people will say, well, that's divisive, but it could be, it could not be. But really, you're just asking questions, and there's nothing wrong with asking questions. There's nothing wrong at all.
At the same time, I also like to not try to convince people about how I feel about something, but I also want to open minds so that people aren't so tunnel visioned on how they think about the gaming industry, because I feel like all too often, I don't want to generalize, but there's a lot of YouTubers out there that like to try to pigeonhole thought processes into, this is how everyone should think about something, whereas my approach is more of I try to be more open with, I understand how people would think that, but this is why I think this, and this is why I would like you to consider feeling this way about something, because this, even though it's not what the majority is thinking, it doesn't mean that it's wrong. Because oftentimes in the game industry, more often than not, the majority is actually the wrong, in my opinion. They're leading the charge into the wrong direction. And that's my fear, is that game companies are listening to the majority sometimes and going these directions because the majority wants them to. The latest example being Blizzard doing the mobile phone game for Diablo, and people getting pissed off at that. And while I definitely understand where people are coming from with that, my approach is speak with your wallet and stop getting pissed at Blizzard. Like that's literally, it's an open free market economy. This company is allowed to do whatever the hell they want to. They don't owe you a damn thing, just like you don't owe them money when a game comes out. You don't owe a game company money. They have to earn it. And if they come out with something that they don't earn their money, don't get mad, kick and scream. Like, people get mad at Pat the NES Punk and that whole podcast thing there. And this isn't not in defense of him, but I could, because I don't like how they handled the situation. They spoke to gamers like they're idiots. They spoke very downward towards people, like we're better than you, and that is not approach that I would take. But if you dig all that, how they approached it out of it, I can kind of see why they feel that way about the situation. Now, they could have handled it a hell of a lot better, but I can definitely empathize. There we go. There we go. With what they were trying to get at, but I really think they should have rehearsed that first, because it just came out like, ugh, God. I don't know. Did you see that? Did you see that podcast?
I did not see that. I did not see it.
It's brutal. I'll send you a quick 3-minute link of it, and you'll be like, what are they doing?
All right. This next question, we asked about what inspires you to make your video. What is your process of making. This is one that I should have asked Salty, but I'm gonna ask you because I want to find out if our processes are similar. You know what I mean? Because everybody has a different process to how they make a video. Some people do the intro first. They don't do the intro first. Some people do just the content and how they cut it up. You know what I mean? It could just be different ways. So what is your process in making your content and your videos?
It depends on the type of video I'm making. My content can be sporadic. Typically intro, the Smash logo, and then talk about the topic. But before even that gets going, research, figuring out what the topic is, and something that if anyone out there is listening and has a YouTube channel or is considering making a YouTube channel, a really important thing that I wish someone told me at the beginning was think of a title for your video before you start actually recording, because you need to figure out what you're going to focus on, and that will really help you with what the point of your story is if you know what the title of the video is. And sometimes that sounds really obvious, but when you start filming and then when you're done filming, you're like, what the hell was I just talking about?
I've done that before. In the beginning, I have done that so much where I had talked about a topic, especially in the beginning when I started doing news topics with Nintendo, and I would go on about this and that, and then I would play it back, and I was like, what was I even talking about? You know, and that has happened to me. I wish somebody has ever told me that before. Make sure that you have a title. That way you can stick to that title, because there's been plenty of times where I've had to go back, re-record, redo different takes because of that very thing. So I've been there. That was one of my biggest struggles in the beginning, for sure.
The other thing I'd say, just my recommendation if you're a smaller channel getting started, don't script. Don't even bother scripting, because this is when you're first getting started on YouTube. I started scripting everything, and it was very robotic. It was mundane. It didn't feel like it was from the heart, even though I wrote it and everything. It's really hard to professionally read something and make it sound like you're emphasizing the right parts. So the learning process comes in when you just wing it. And something RGT85 is really good at doing is just talking about a topic without cuts or anything. And he said himself, like, don't talk about a topic that you don't know about. Don't try to make a video on something you don't know about, because you'll sound like an idiot. You'll say a lot of ums and ahs. You'll go all over the place. And at the end of the video, you'll lose people. People will unsubscribe from you, or they will never come to your videos again. So know what you're talking about before you even start talking and turning the camera on.
A big one.
Yeah. And it's one that sounds obvious, though. Like, you think you would know, I'm not going to make a video without knowing what I'm talking about. But then sometimes the pressures of YouTube will get to you, where you're like, well, I see all these other creators just winging it and talking. What you don't see is what goes on behind the scenes, or how many times these other creators have filmed themselves do it, or how much research they've done before they actually turn the camera on. It looks so easy to a big channel. It looks so basic that you think that you can just turn the camera on and do what they do. But it takes so much work and effort. And that's what I'm getting at, is when you're first starting out, this is your time to actually learn how to wing it and sound like you know what you're talking about. And it will get better with each video. You'll have some peaks and valleys, but overall it's an increasing stock on your own stock, and you just need to keep working and honing your craft on it.
Yep. That is that part. I'm glad you said it, because that's some things that happened to me in the beginning. When I would just find a news topic that was trending and I would talk about it, and I didn't know anything about it, you know, and as I was recording, I'm like, I sound like an idiot. But the pressures of YouTube, you know, a popular topic, you're like, oh, I got to talk about this. This is the popular topic right now. This is what's getting the clicks and the views, you know, and so people do that. I've been caught doing that. And so that's why nowadays, and that's why, you know, as of recently, and as I've learned to do YouTube, like, I just don't try to talk about things that I don't care about. or know about, and especially the care about part, because there's nothing worse than trying to pretend like you care about a topic that you don't care about. That's why when I do the podcast, the topics are mostly, I mean, you don't get the same topics, but I sort of keep it relevant to like what I like talking about. You know what I mean? Because if I don't want to talk about something I don't care about, there's no fun in that. There's no point in that at all.
Right. If you're just making content just to get clicks and subscribers, you're going to find yourself getting subscribers and not being happy with yourself. And then you got to get to a point where you dig this hole so deep that your subscribers are going to be expecting this content out of you and you're not happy with it. So why are you doing that in the first place?
Exactly. And that was where I came to recently. Me and you would discuss this, because I remember there was a stream that I was doing and I was just not into it at all. And you could tell, you were like, dude, what is wrong with you? You messaged me on Twitter. You were like, bro, you good? You all right? Like, something is up with you. And I just told you, like, bro, I am tired of doing this. I can't do this anymore. Like, and you were like, dude, just don't even worry about that. Just be you. Do what you like to do. And if people don't like it, kick rocks and just move on to the next topic. Like, and they can just move on to the next person. So, and honestly, that's what it has to be when you are a content creator. 100%. You got to be you, and that's it. And yeah, I talk about topics that you like, but it's just got to be you, because if you put on this facade or you're faking it, it will wear on you and people can tell easy.
The two most important things: be real with yourself and be real with your audience.
100%.
That is two very different things that you have to get down. Like, as similar as they might sound, you got to be real with yourself and you got to be real with the audience. And they're very similar, but they're also wholly separate. It's weird. It's
100%. And that's one thing that I've recently learned, and I'm still continually learning. But
me too. Me too.
Like, I'm glad that happened that one day, because you was like, dude, what is wrong with you? And like, we had a conversation, and but it was helpful. It was very helpful. So I don't want you to put anybody on the spot. So two separate questions, two different answers. Okay. Who are some of your favorite larger YouTubers, and who are some of your favorite smaller YouTubers? We're not throwing anybody under the bus, just like the relationships that you formed and stuff like that. Who have you become to like a lot and stuff like that?
Worries. I mean, every time I think of favorite larger YouTuber, that's twofold. Like, people who I've made personal connections with as human beings compared to just channels I enjoy watching. One that meets both of those is Happy Console Gamer. I really enjoy his videos, his whole channel aura, and him as a person. When I was going through a personal struggle on YouTube a few months ago, he actually reached out to me and then FaceTimed me and spoke to me for over 2 hours, just on the phone, FaceTime, just talking one-on-one about YouTube, the struggles that you have, how to regain confidence in subscribers, how to get back in control of your channel and be real with you and be real with your audience, which is what he really said to me. And that's really hit home with me. As far as other favorite large YouTubers, I really like Boogie a lot. I like Philip DeFranco a lot. PewDiePie, I love PewDiePie. I know people love to hate on him, but I can't stop watching him. I think every video he makes is so well done. I feel like after I'm done watching his videos, PewDiePie especially, I'm jealous of how in control he is of the entire situation. Like, he owns it. He owns the entire video. It's him. He owns the situation. He controls it all. The direction, the comedy, the drop-ins, the edits. I mean, I know he doesn't do all his edits, but everything, his aura is just immaculate. I love it. And I try to watch these bigger channels to not necessarily emulate them and copy them, but try to pick things from them that I really like, that I wish I had, and then try to focus on making those aspects of how I approach a video part of what I interject. Like, if you watch my first videos, my first few months of videos, and then you watch my videos now, you'd be like, whoa, are you the same person? Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like I look at my old videos and I'm like, holy crap, I've come a long way in a year and a half, you know? So I think everybody who makes videos starting out, don't be afraid to come out of your comfort zone. Don't be afraid to be who you would be on steroids. And you know what I mean? Like don't be afraid. Michelle, use this as your outlet. What's up, Abaddon? And use this as a way to be a bigger version of who you actually are. Because like you hear, if you meet these YouTubers in person, they're similar to how they are in their videos, but they're also real people. You know what I mean? When you watch a YouTube video, you don't really feel like it's a real person talking to you. You feel like it's a bigger than reality person talking. You know what I mean? But you also don't want to go too far. You want to make sure it's a delicate balance. You want to make sure you're on the level of your viewers so that you're not above them. You don't ever want to do what Pat Contry did and put himself above his viewers, or you don't want to do anything like that God complex guy did and said, I don't want to talk to you because I'm better than my viewers. It's like you don't ever want to be in that. That's going way too far with it. But some happy middle ground there.
Yeah. All right. So small YouTubers in the community. Some of my favorite smaller YouTubers.
This is really hard because
right.
I love so many channels under 5,000, so many channels under 10,000. Like I could rattle off probably 35, 40 names of channels that I wish I could watch every single one of their videos. Like I love them so much. Let me see. I'm not going to say you because you're right here. I'd say, excluding people in the chat, excluding you, people that I really enjoy watching that I feel like everybody should watch. Grumpy Munchkins, Tark's Gauntlet, Lucius Showcase. Let's see. God, there's so many.
Your player 2.
So many. Your player 2. Rebel Gaming Club. Super Nicktendo. Discart. I really like Switchcraft a lot.
Switchcraft. J-Love.
J-Love. I really wish Switchcraft would make more videos because I feel like he has a ton of potential.
Yeah. He really does. Like, I mean, I reach out to him. It seems like he's just really busy. Like, and I understand, you know, that whole aspect of being like very, very busy. So like, that's one person that I do wish would make some more content would be Switchcraft, because like you said, he's got a lot of potential. And like when the funny thing is like when he makes it. It's funny. I want to ask him, like, bro, like, how do you do this? Because when he makes a video, it seems like his video hits. I don't understand why, but it does. Like when he did the Nintendo Direct one, that one hit. Then he did one recently, not too long ago. That video did very well for his size of a channel. Like it seems like anytime he does one, it does very well. It's like, man, if you just kept doing this consistently, I think you would kill it. You really would.
Yeah, I totally agree. But I feel like that's the same with so many small channels, is they're just not consistent enough. Like another channel I love, Nostalgic Numbnuts. I mean, I haven't seen a video from them in like 3 months.
Oak City Gamers, man.
Oak City Gamers. I think that's the problem that a lot of small channels face. I mean, to a lesser extent, larger channels too, they disappear too. All channels don't last forever, no matter what. But right. I feel like there's a really high turnover rate for small channels, and that's a really bad thing for viewers to want to fall in love with a small channel because they could just disappear any day. And that gives a lot of small channels a bad name because they unfortunately, whether you want to admit it or not, we all get lumped in together. I got a buddy who watches YouTube a lot, and He knows that I make videos. He enjoys the videos I make. He subscribed to me. He told me I'm the only person he subscribes to that's under like 3 million subscribers. And I'm like, why is that? He's like, because I don't want to waste my time with the smaller channels. I mean, first off, there's so many bad small channels that it's worth it. And they don't ever post videos consistent enough for me to want to subscribe to them.
That is the biggest one, honestly, because if you're not consistent, if you're not posting a video every week, every day, every other day, every whatever, people tend to lose interest because, it's YouTube. There are millions, thousands of other YouTube channels out there that they can go to. And that's one thing that I've learned. And yeah, like if you have a bad week or a bad couple weeks, like I've had recently where you have to take time, that's understandable. But
yeah. Always prioritize yourself first.
But that's my biggest advice is be consistent with the content. That way people know you're constantly making content and they keep coming back. That is the biggest one that I've learned, that I continue to learn and I continue to keep trying to do. Like I said, things come up and that's understandable, but be consistent. That way you can build that community, build that fan base, and pretty much that's it, So I got 2 more questions. This one's a more fun question. What are some of your favorite games of all time, whether it's recently, past? Name some off, some of your favorite games that you still want to play or of all time that you still love to play and stuff like that. Excuse me.
Secret of Mana, probably my favorite game of all time. The original Super Nintendo. Chrono Trigger, Phantasy Star 2, Super Mario World, Halo 2, Halo 1. The new God of War.
New God of War is a big one.
Yeah, I love that one. That was really good.
What about Breath of the Wild? Is that one up there for you? Or it was just kind of
I really, really enjoyed it, but for some reason it doesn't have lasting power for me. I don't know why. I mean, it's good. I don't ever have the feeling of, oh man, I got to pop in Breath of the Wild. I got to play it. Like I played it, I beat it, I played it to death, had a ton of fun with it, and moved on from it. Like games like Chrono Trigger, I feel like I could go back and play a million times.
Yeah.
So great. I remember you were live streaming that. Like, such a great game.
Chrono Trigger, yeah, is one of those games. Super Mario RPG is one of those games for me. Breath of the Wild, I agree, but whenever I do go back and play it, I always get sucked back in. If that makes sense.
I feel like you're right. Like, I feel like if I were to put it in, I'd be sucked back into it. Like,
yes.
I don't mean to be talking crap about it. I loved it. Like, I loved it. It was my game of the year last year. So, yes, I loved it. But I find myself wanting to play games like SteamWorld Heist or Rogue Legacy more, just because I feel like the replayability and the fast action pace and variety. And I really like the little guy. I love indie games. I want to see indie games succeed. I feel like they don't get enough attention by the gaming community. I feel like they're the black sheep of the gaming community. It's changed a lot over the years and they get a little bit more attention than they used to. But in the grand scheme of things, you talk to the 5 million, 6 million, 10 million subscriber channels. How many of them talk about indie games? Zero. Right. None of them. Because that's not popular with the right.
One of the most recent games that, well, I've recently started playing indie games, right? Like, because I was the same way. I was like, man, indie games, well, who wants to play those, right? That was my attitude toward them. But last year I started playing more indie games, and I started having more and more fun playing these indie games. I was like, wow, you can actually have fun playing these games. Like it was funny, whether it was Wizards of Legend, Dead Cells, Kamiko was one that I really enjoyed. And then recently, and I'm kicking myself for never playing this when it came out. Undertale, dude. Like, there's so many good games out there. Undertale being like the top one, dude. Like, I cannot believe I recently just started playing, dude.
I knew you would love that, by the way.
Oh my goodness. I absolutely love it. It is a great game, 100%. So, last question, because I see you got your son there trying wanting attention. So
He got some string and hair tied into his helicopter. So
all right. So
figuring that out. Putting out fires in California, left and right.
So, what are your plans moving forward? That is the last question that I have for you.
You know, it's funny. I made a video at the beginning of this year talking about my hopes, dreams, expectations for 2018. I haven't watched it since I made it, but I remember saying my biggest goal was to get 10,000 subscribers to end the year with 10,000 subscribers, and that's not happening. Like, it's just not. I was on a good trajectory, and then all of a sudden, for whatever reason,
stopped. Yeah. Where are you at right now? You at what is your subscriber
count? I think I'm at like 57 or 5,800, something like that.
Okay.
I actually kind of stopped looking at it because it's just kind of like I don't want to focus on my sub count.
Right. You don't want that to define you. You want to just keep making the videos that you do, right?
And I feel like that's one of the hardest things to get over when you're a small channel, because you get so fixated on growing your channel that you want to see your channel grow and have success, and you're trying to see what works, and if the sub count goes up or down based off of what you do. And that's kind of a hard habit to kick when you're growing, and you were growing fast and then it slows down. And my growth has slowed, not to a stop. It's just, at one point I was gaining like between 300 and 500 subs a month, and now I'm down to gaining anywhere from 80 to 150 a month.
It's just fun. YouTube is just funny. You know what I mean? Like, and I've stopped trying to play the game with the algorithm and figuring everything. I've just stopped. Like, my goal really, honestly, is a sub a day or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I used to put expectations on myself. Man, if I could only get this YouTuber to help me out, if I could only get this person to raid me, if I could only get this person to help me out with this sub count and get it up, and yada 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 yada. That was always me.
All that's well and good, but you probably realized, like Guy, that you get subs boosted from that kind of stuff. In the long run, it hurts you, because you'll see your subs start dropping like in 2 weeks, and you'll be like, what the hell? I'm putting out good content and my subs keep dropping. It's because all those people just want to see their name show up on the screen. They don't actually want to sub to you, and they're not good subs. And if they stay sub to you, they're not watching your content anyways. So it's not just getting subs it doesn't do anything for you. It doesn't help. You need to get people that fall in love with you and your content.
Exactly.
And the only way to do that is to make good content, and hopefully get a bigger channel to shout you out and tell his audience why your content is so goddamn good that they have to watch it too. Not just, hey, sub to this guy because he's my friend. Like that. No, what? No
exactly. And that's what I've learned. I've just learned, like, forget all that. You don't just keep doing what you're doing, and it may take forever, whatever. But in the end, what are you doing this for? You're doing this to grow and make money, or you're doing this because you enjoy doing it? And I had to get to the point where I just literally said, F it. I'm just going to do this because I enjoy doing it. You know what I mean? And so that's where I've been. And so that'll do it for the show. Smash JT, bro. I really do appreciate you doing this. Like I mentioned before, like, because of you, there's a lot of people that I know in this community. Andrew, Abaddon, who are regulars on the podcast, Switchcraft, Super Nicktendo, like all of these people. Just that's how this all started for me. You know, and my buddy Salty's Gaming, who's in the chat, I'm on his podcast, and we started staying together. But meeting you, I met a little bit more people outside of everything, and so yes, I had to get you on for this, dude. Like I do, like I said, I appreciate you. It was a must do to have you on here, and I really do appreciate it, dude.
Dude, you've done just as much for me. I mean, the friendship that we have and the friendships I made with everyone here, Abaddon, Super Andrew, you guys are all amazing. And as far as how meeting people in this YouTube world goes. I mean, I met a lot of people through other people's streams before you guys either started or before I started doing my help streams, and it kind of slowed down. And I've noticed, I'm sure YouTube has metrics on this internally, but I bet that, I don't know, when did you start your channel?
I started my channel August of 2017.
Okay, so you're August. I'd bet the vast majority of people that start their channels do it as a New Year's resolution. Like, I feel like that's a heavy time. It's like joining the gym. It's just something that people have always wanted to do. And I look at myself personally, and that's when I did it, was a New Year's resolution. It's like, I never do New Year's resolutions, but I was like, if I'm ever going to do it, now's the time. So I feel
right.
like the beginning of the year is a huge ramp up period. So in a weird way, I am looking forward to that, to meeting even more people, even more creators that are going to take the leap and start doing their channels at that point too, which kind of makes me laugh when we go back to when John Hancock made that video, are there too many YouTubers? And I'm like, no, to me, there can never be enough YouTubers. I love this. The thing that kills me is the YouTubers that start and then stop. I just, it's not for everybody. It's actually not for most with the way YouTube is set up these days. But just the fact that people are putting themselves out there and making content and just being able to talk about their path, and it drives me. So I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, definitely, man. And so to everybody in the chat, Saltiest Gaming, Avedon, Super Andrew, Gabe Guerrero, who always here, stop by. Krillin was here, Pink Floyd. Appreciate everybody for stopping by. It was a good show. I really do enjoy doing this. This is probably my favorite segment that I do every week. I don't know who I'm going to get next week. We'll try to figure that out. But once again, JT, like, I really do appreciate you, bro. Like, it's been great. Appreciate you. So,
Absolutely.
Like I mentioned, appreciate y'all. We will see you guys next week. Yeah, next week. We ain't doing a show. Next week. See y'all.